Hi there, and thank you for joining me on step 9 within the kvCORE Top 10. This is Annalisa, trainer with Inside Real Estate, and this is all going to be regarding tailoring smart campaigns, which includes setting up some templates initially to tailor a message according to your business needs. So there's a few things we're going to think about and speak to while we're talking about, why are we creating this smart campaign? Who's our audience? Are we customizing this smart campaign for, is it for homeowners? Is it for future sellers, and buyers? Is it for first-time home buyers? Are we wanting to target people within our sphere of influence? And within that sphere, are we going to target a specific subcategorization within my sphere, whether it's my alma mater, professional contacts, nosy agents, maybe you want to get them on a recruiting drip or something. But you can think about your audiences and what your goal is for the next coming quarter, half year, annually, and think about who you want to target. And then you can build all of these customized smart campaigns around that message, which is pretty cool because it gives you the ability to send that unique campaign message to the contact. And you can also build in calls to action to yourself so nothing slips, between the cracks. kvCORE is really good at making sure we provide you with the prompts to follow through, as well as all the automated things, of course, we take care of in the background. But within these smart campaigns, you can actually say, no, I want to text myself a reminder of this. I want to remind myself to give these people a call or build some type of action in. So there's all of these things of which to consider when you're building a smart campaign. And another thing is to build a smart campaign, it's full of all sorts of different types of facets and elements. And those facets and elements are the templates of which you use to create each call to action within your smart campaign. So you can think of the smart campaign as the whole, and each template within the smart campaign is a part of that entire process. Now, when you're creating a template, I really suggest you use a doc, or maybe it's a Word doc, Google Doc, perhaps it's a Google slide, maybe it is PowerPoint, whatever works best for you. But I would suggest having something where you make the font a little bigger and you sit down and you think about your core communication of which you want to send and when you want to send it and how you want to send it. And then amongst those different calls to action to your contacts, to that base, what do you need to build into yourself to make sure you're on top of the interaction, right? In case they respond back, you've got an idea in your mind, what do I have? It's part of my arsenal to send these folks. So I'm going to give you an idea of how to go about doing this. And then I'm going to show you how to find your templates within Smart Campaigns and how to create a template and then bring it all together by showing you that Smart Campaign. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example. This is a seller drip that Ernest Enriquez created. It's pretty cool, and it gives you an idea of what you can do as you're thinking about the communication that you want to have with these folks that you're targeting. So we see here on day one, we have this blue background, and then we're going to get into these grays and reds here down this left-hand side. We're starting out on day one, and this is with the assumption that this is a brand new seller that's landing, via a new lead on our website or registering somehow and becoming a new lead with us on our dashboard. And your correspondence is immediately going to trigger the moment that hits. So we can see here that there is an email and a text of which go out. So you can build in different template elements to address a text and or an email or trigger something to yourself as a reminder. So you can see here we're sending both an email and a text out, and also Ernest has a link in here that's sending people back to his website to get more information on their market. And then you can see on day two, it's an email only leading them to a blog about 12 things to do before selling your home. And if we look at day three, it's actually a follow-up that he's building in for himself to remind himself to make a call, but don't leave a voicemail in this case. And I'll make sure I include a link to these examples for you so you can kind of absorb it and kind of get an idea of what you can do here. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, we saw different colors here. So we've got blue down from day 1 through day 7. And you can see day 7 is also a text and an email. Now, when we get into day 8, where it turns gray, this is where things can kind of go a couple of different directions depending on the status of the lead at the time. So Ernest is recommending that if a lead or a contact has not responded to any communication that you've sent out up here in the blue, change the information from new lead, or the status, I should say, change that status of that contact from new lead to prospect. Now, what you can also say here is, if they have responded to communication and they're really not ready to change over, they're not ready to pop, they're not ready to start looking, you can keep them in the system and change them new lead to prospect. Either way, you can have a different Smart Campaign trigger when you change that status from new lead, which was connected to this blue part of a drip campaign. Then we got to day 8 and we're like, all right, which direction is this person headed in? We're determining that. We're going to change the status. And then that status can then go in and trigger another part of a drip campaign, of a Smart Campaign. So you can build in these different segments. So you can see here, this is day 1 when it's changed over to prospect. And you can do the same thing if it's day 1 and then maybe you're sending them over to as a client. You've had them in the car, had them in the office, you have a softer message you want to send out. So you can adjust all of your content accordingly to the distinct, unique group that you want to address, which is pretty cool. Now, if we go back over to this little reminder, again, it might help you to use a doc to flesh out the messaging that you want to share. So you can kind of have the whole thing in front of you and drink it in and be like, all right, am I hitting all of the boxes? Now, because we've created our template here, we have that example of Ernest's. We can now, start creating the little bits and pieces that go into that entire Smart Campaign. So we have the template ready here on the slide. And now we're just going to take day 1 and actually build a template within the kvCORE platform, and then we can loop it into the use within a Smart Campaign. So I'm going to bring it all together here for you. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the kvCORE platform. And this is what all of you will be seeing every time you log into kvCORE. And we're going to drop into the marketing autopilot. So you'll see this little paper airplane icon and marketing autopilot 4th down on the left. Now, when this page loads, we're going to go ahead and click on Start a Campaign. Now, when you're first learning about these Smart Campaigns, and some people call them drips, these ongoing communications, and you pop into the campaign library, you're going to see 2 tabs here at the top left of Campaign Library and Templates. The library will show you the kvCORE library. These are all templates, or I'm sorry, Smart Campaigns, of which kvCORE has tested and created and provided to you, our clientele, to use. So you can actually click on this little down arrow here across all the way to the right. And you can see all of our drip campaigns. And you can see here, like, here's the conversion default for sellers and buyers. These are from our legacy Conversion Plus, and it's a tried and true Smart Campaign. And then we also have expired sellers, renter sphere, prospect renter, etc. And you can look across these, and as you're building your own Smart Campaigns, to see, okay, when are these exactly triggering and what are they doing? So we can see here conversion buyer default. Every lead that comes in that's a buyer lead status new lead is going to get this communique. And it has texts and emails, and there's 6 touches inside of that drip, inside of that Smart Campaign. So that's an entire Smart Campaign. And what we need to do is create the templates so then we can pull all those elements together and create a finalized campaign that will land here. And I know it might sound a little daunting, but once you kind of break it down into little segments, take a break once in a while if you get a little twitchy, stand up, shake it out, sit back down, it'll be fine. It just takes a second of, dipping your toe in the pool of kvCORE and taking a moment just to absorb some information. So, you got your kvCORE library here, and then as you have these campaigns of which you've brought into the system, you're going to find them here. So everything you build or make a copy of will land as a campaign list within your own library. Now, what we need to go to this second tab here across the top left and click on templates. And this is where you can build in those facets of, do I want this to be an email? Do I want this to be a text message? Do I want to trigger and remind myself to call? Do I want to put a task in for myself, or even some type of webhook where you can actually send information out to different services for different types of opportunity? And there's different trainings on each of these in the support portal, which you can access if you click on help resources here on the bottom left and then search by keyword. Now, to create these little one-off templates, we can just click this green Add Template button. And if we look at these examples here, you can say like, all right, so post call email 1 is something that we can clone and bring in as a copy if we don't want to recreate the wheel per se. So if we want to bring a copy of this in, we can just click clone. And the system will tell you what the template name is, what the scope is. Now, it's super important to pay attention to scope if you are someone who has different permissions of access within kvCORE. So myself, because I'm an admin for the whole company or brokerage of which I am in my test account, I see the whole shoot match, the whole shebang. So I can actually choose, do I want this smart campaign to be coming into the company level within different offices, or for a specific agent? So if I wanted to have this go out to all of my people and available, I could choose company from that, broker down perspective. If I was within an office or a team, I could say I only want that for that office. Or as an agent, I want it, I'm making it for me, I can choose my name. Then I can put in a subject of hi there, whatever you want to put in there. And you have the ability to jump in here and add in HTML, hyperlink items, and you have some bells and whistles of formatting as well. Now, if you don't like how something's worded in here, all you have to do is basically edit this. So myself, when I look at this, would it be okay if I gave you a call? Let me know what your schedule looks like. I might add something in there. Hey, and P.S. if I haven't heard from you in the next 4 or 5 days, I'm going to give you a ring just to check in. Because then I can set that expectation that, hey, I am interested. I want to see what's going on. I want to check in with you, and then make sure you check in. So that's something you can build in as a task to yourself within that smart campaign if you wanted to. Now, on your setup, when you got onto kvCORE, you actually set up a signature. So you can tell the system, well, do I want to include my signature, or do I want to use a meta tag? Or some people might also see these as variables as well. So you can drop in these meta tags to pull information directly off of your dashboard and fill it in. And you can also drop your signature in if you want as well. And then you can clone it, and a copy of this will land on your dashboard as available to use within a smart campaign. Now, if we want to create our own template, our very own unique template, we'll just click Add Template here on the upper right, and we can do an email, text, task, call, or webhook where we send something out to that third party for another job. So what I could say is I want to have a text sent out. And I'm going to call this, maybe I'm canvassing sellers North Clark County. So I could name it something where it's very unique to me that I recognize. And the content is going to be, hi, thanks for visiting my open house, or I see you're interested in homes in Clark County. Whatever information you want to share with that party. Or if you had created your template, like we had discussed at the beginning, we could pop over here to our seller drip templates and pull that text on day one. So I could go ahead and just say, hi, this is, and then this little meta tag here, agent name, will automatically pull my name in as an agent, so I don't need to write it out. Were you able to download the comparables I provided? Reply yes or no. So we can actually copy that, go back into our platform and content, and place, and do this paste as plain text. And then this is going to be part of our template for sellers North Clark County. We're building this text in. So we could say, you know, sellers, North Clark County, day 1. That's the template. That's the template name, and maybe we'll call it text because we also have an email. So we can add in that template. Now, if we want to find it, I can just search for it here. And it didn't come up with a result because right now I'm looking at emails. So because we just built a text, make sure you click on the correct type of template. And if I type in Clark and search again, we'll see sellers North Clark County day 1 text show up. Now, if we go back to the campaign library and we want to build this campaign, we can then go to add campaign on this right-hand side. And I can say, all right, this campaign scope, is it for my company wide? Is it for offices? Or of course, you know, depending on your access level, is it for you, the agent? Now, this is where you can get into some fun things, is like, okay, how do I want these to trigger? When do I want them to trigger? What do I want them to trigger? So you can say whenever a lead lands that is new or transferred to me, or I move it to a specific hashtag, I want XYZ to happen. So this is where you get into doing a little legwork initially, but it pays off in the long run because you're just doing nothing but investing in yourself by setting it up now. So you can say when a lead lands and is new, and it lands from, maybe it's your website, or it's an import, or a millions mapped, which of course is your, you know, your app competition for Zillow. You want to make sure all of your contacts have millions mapped and are kicking Zillow to the curb, right? But you can actually say when it comes in as new or from a specific source or transfer or hashtag, I want these things to happen. And you can go into advanced triggers and say, whenever that lead lands and it's new, I want something to trigger. So whenever something comes in and it has the following hashtag or source attached to it, or status. So when we were looking earlier at you know, seller drip campaigns, and we got here to step 8, we were saying, all right, if it's been 7 days, they haven't responded, or maybe they responded but they're not ready to go, we're going to change them from a status of new lead to prospect. Or if they have expressed interest, maybe we're moving them from new lead to active lead. So this is where it can come into play, where you can say, all right, well, when I change this to this hashtag, this new smart campaign can take off. So that's where you can get into these little triggers of saying, whenever this, you know, when it's moved to this hashtag, I want that particular smart campaign to take off. So I'm just going to go when the lead is new, and it is a agent website direct lead. You know, I can add a trigger in if I want. So when, you know, additional, if it's assigned to this lender, whenever this is done, so whenever the lender is updated, that triggers something. Maybe you want to add in whenever the email is empty. You know, you can also say, I want to add a trigger in. So you can add in all these different triggers or remove them, or say, hey, I don't want a trigger, and just click next, and you'll see the system will walk you through 1, 2, 3, 4 here across the top. And then you're going to say, all right, this is for buyers, or this is for sellers, or all. Next. Set details. And this is where you can, you know, name it. So this is like North Clark County. So we call it North Clark County sellers, seller drip for North County. And then you can determine if you want to share the campaign with everyone else, if you want it to always run whenever that type of lead comes in, if you want to lock it so someone can or cannot edit it. And then you can click next. And the system's going to verify everything with you. And then you add your campaign. So the first thing we're doing is we're creating the name of the campaign, which is right here. And then we're going to build the content into it. So we're going to add the campaign. Now we're going to paint. It's important that you refresh your tab. So you can either go up to your tab in your browser and right click. And when you right click, you're actually going to see reload tab up there. Or you can just, you know, close Chrome and open it, or close that particular window, or just refresh your kvCORE. But either way, we need to refresh that page. And then the new campaign of which I just created showed up here as North Clark County sellers, seller for North County. No start triggers defined. It's for sellers. And I can see I have 0 touches in here. We have no performance yet, and it's an always run. So to add content to this, because we need to make sure we got something going on here, we have like the shell created, but not like the inner goodies of like the chocolate, right? So we can click on North County sellers, click on that campaign, and now we can go ahead and add an action. So we can say, I want a text to go. And now we can actually search for that text on the templates. So I can say, I want Sellers North Clark County Day 1 text to be my first touch. And then I can call it the same thing up here. And now I know it's going from the agent to the contact, and I want it to run immediately. Or I can say, I don't want this to run until X amount of time. So maybe I don't want it to run for another couple of hours, like 3 hours. Maybe I don't want it to run for 3 days. Maybe I want it to wait 7 minutes. Or I can just say, hey, let's get that out the door, run immediately. And I can click add. And now we can see as we're building this campaign, it's got the name of our campaign within our campaign library. It's verifying the name of the campaign. It's verifying when it starts, who it's for, is it always run, is it shared, who was it created by. And now the cool thing about this is once you look at these campaigns and you start building in all of these different actions that will take place, you can go up here to add action and add in, of course, the email, the call, the text, the task, a tag, a status, a webhook, and say whenever this happens, this needs to trigger, or this needs to be delayed by X amount of minutes, hours, days. And you can build all this in and see all of your steps within this campaign action. And if we go back to our campaign library by clicking all campaigns here at the top left, the system's going to refresh the page and we'll see the smart campaign of which we created is here. And now it says seller text. There's 1 touch set so far. So we just need to go back in and complete all of the different touches, whether they're internal to ourselves as reminders or external for the client contact. We need to continue fleshing out all of the different touches within that smart campaign. Now, if you have questions anytime, it's super important that you contact support via this bottom right-hand side of your dashboard. Or you can email us anytime, kvCORE@insiderealestate.com. Have a great day.